A Roman soldier is paid in silver, real silver, that he can bite, weigh, and trust. His grandson is paid the same wage, in a coin that looks almost identical. Same face, same name, same promise stamped into the metal. But it is barely silver at all, it is copper, dressed up to look like wealth. Nobody announced the change. There was no reform, no speech, no vote. It happened so slowly that most people never noticed the money in their hand was quietly dying. This is how Rome fell. Not to barbarians at the gate, but to a decision made in its own mint. And it is the exact same decision being made today. For centuries, Rome had one of the soundest currencies the world had ever seen, the denarius. A small silver coin, around 95% pure, and everyone from Britain to the Euphrates trusted it. That trust was the real empire. A merchant in Gaul would accept a coin minted in Rome because he knew exactly what it was worth. Trade flowed, taxes flowed. Armies were paid. The denarius was the bloodstream of the ancient world, and it worked because the metal did not lie. But sound money has one great inconvenience for a government. You cannot make more of it than you have silver. Rome, like every empire, wanted more than it could afford. Wars on distant frontiers. Grain to feed the mob. Monuments, games, and the salaries of a vast army that could make or break an emperor. So in the year 64, under Nero, the mint began to cheat. Just slightly. They shaved the weight of the coin, and they mixed in a little copper. The denarius still looked the same, it still spent the same. But there was now less silver in it. And the difference stayed in the emperor's treasury. It was a tax that nobody could see. And once an emperor discovers a tax nobody can see, he rarely stops. Each generation of rulers thinned the coin a little more. Under 90% silver. Then under 60, then further still. By the middle of the 3rd century, the coin that had once been almost pure silver contained just a few percent. The rest was base metal with a thin silver wash on the surface that wore off in your hand. The emperors were, in the truest sense, printing money. They just did it with a hammer and an alloy, instead of a press. You cannot fool a market forever. As the coins became worthless, people needed more of them to buy the same bread, the same cloth, the same cart of grain. Prices did not rise because goods were scarce. They rose because the money was rotten. This is inflation, and Rome had unleashed it on itself. By the year 300, the system was breaking. So the Emperor Diocletian did what panicking governments always do. He blamed everyone else. In 301, he issued an edict fixing the maximum price of almost everything, from wheat to a day's wages, on pain of death. It failed completely. Merchants simply stopped selling rather than sell at a loss. Goods vanished from the markets. You cannot fix by decree what you have broken in the mint. Now look at the money in your own pocket. No government today clips silver, because there is no silver to clip. But the mechanism is identical. When a central bank creates trillions in new money to fund deficits, wars, and crises, it is doing exactly what Nero did. It is diluting the value of every unit already in your hands. And you feel it the same way a Roman did. Not as a tax bill, but as a rising price, your weekly shop, your rent, your energy. The post-pandemic surge in the cost of living was not a mystery, and it was not simply bad luck. It was the oldest trick in government, running once again. Rome debased its coins over 200 years. With a keyboard, the modern version can be done in an afternoon. Empires rarely announce their own decline. It does not arrive with a headline. It arrives quietly, in the money, one shaved coin at a time. Until one day the promise stamped on the metal simply is not true anymore. The Romans could not read the warning in their own pockets. We have their whole story in front of us. Understand the past, and the present stops looking random. If this is the kind of history you want more of, subscribe. There is a great deal more where this came from.